Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha Tvameva Tvameva vidyat ravinam Tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So do we have Aditi?
No, we don't.
I think she's away. I think she told me. So Howard will read this morning. And where are we in our text?
Starting chapter 27.
Yeah, 27. Okay. The beginning list begins forever. Questioner, the other day I was asking you about two ways of growth, renunciation and enjoyment, yoga and boga. The difference is not so great as it looks. The yogi renounces to enjoy, the bogi enjoys to renounce. The yogi renounces first, the bogi enjoys first. Maharaj, so what? Leave the yogi to his yogi and the bogi to his bogi. Questioner, the way of boga seems to me the better one. The yogi is like a green mango, separated from the tree prematurely and kept to ripen in a basket of straw. Airless and overheated, it does not get ripe, but the true flavor and fragrance are lost. The mango left on the tree grows to full size, color, and sweetness, a joy in every way. Yet somehow yoga gets all the praises and boga all the curses. As I see it, boga is the better of the two.
So let's talk a bit about these two paths. Boga means enjoyment. Yoga means union. So let's first of all get the terms clear. The questioner is thinking of boga as going into the world. The yogi, as he's seeing it, sees the world, understands its fundamental unreality. So the mind no longer extroverts. Now, the path of boga is also sometimes called the path of tantra. Sometimes we can see the agora path in the same way. What is it? By understanding that the force of my past, as it expresses through my vasanas, drives me into the world through desire. And by doing it till I don't want to do it anymore, I come to a place of renunciation. The yogi starts with the presupposition the world is essentially shunyata, neutral, void, and that the belief that the world can give me anything eternal or lasting is illusory. It's only a recipe for heartache. Let's dive deep into the two paths. Those who choose the path of Boga are those who are still very identified and attached to the world. No blame. They will come to a place of sannyasa, renunciation, tyagaha, abandonment. But how? Through our suffering. I think the clearest example of this in our modern day is the addict alcoholic. Those of us who've been in 12-step programs know no alcoholic or addict ever really develops the desire to stop until they do what the 12-step programs call hit bottom. Meaning I have pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization until I have been literally beaten into humility by eating humble pie. Until I get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Then the mind develops the desire to be free from the tyranny of craving. Then the path of recovery can start. So, in truth, the path of Boga is the more painful path. And I think it was in Yoga Vasishta, we had this shloka, it was so beautiful, the poetry. That which tastes like nectar in the beginning, but in the end turns to poison, is the path of the bogi. That which tastes like poison in the beginning, but in the end becomes nectar, is the path of the yogi. It's painful to renounce in the beginning. We grieve. Now, the word for nectar, amritam, has two meanings. The root is mert, M-R-T, which means death. So it means nectar, but it also means immortality. So these are the two ways. And in truth, most of us do a lot of both. You can find some alcoholic who is terribly addicted to drink. Did you have any problem with heroin? Oh, no, I never do that. There are things even the bogey says, no, I'm not going to go down that path. But they both fundamentally end, if they're successful, in mature vairagya, mature detachment from the world. Some things we're able to let go of through insight, the path of yoga. Others, the impressions are so strong, we just have to live through them and suffer, as Hamlet says, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. All right, any thoughts on this? Now, Go ahead.
Oh, you mentioned some grief around the beginning, with the yogi and
Yes,
realizing the world is not, well, something real. Can you talk about that?
well, of course, for many of us, when we give something up, the habit is still there. And if we don't indulge the habit, the mind grieves. Wah. I want drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Wah. And then the mind goes, no, I don't want to go down that path. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So again, some of our desires we're able to let go of through insight yoga. Others we just have to live through and get beaten into reasonableness by the world. I cannot tell you how many people come here. I get a phone call. I got dumped by a boy or a girl again. Or someone else, oh, I shot off my mouth and lost my job again. You know, keep repeating it so we don't have to do it anymore. All right, that's kind of the frame. Let's see what Maharaj says.
Maharaj, what makes you say so? Questioner, I watch the yogis and their enormous effort. Even when they realize there is something bitter or astringent about it, they seem to spend much of their time in trances, and when they speak, they merely voice their scriptures. At their best, such yanis are like flowers, perfect, but just little flowers, shedding their fragrance within a short radius. There are some others who are like forests, rich, varied, immense, full of surprises, a world in themselves. There must be a reason for this difference. Maharaj, well, you said it. According to you, one got stunted in his yoga, while the other flourished in boga. Questioner, is it not so? The yogi is afraid of life and seeks peace, while the bogi is adventurous, full of spirits, forward going. The yogi is bound by an ideal, but the bogi is ever ready to explore. Maharaj, it is a matter of wanting much or being satisfied with little. The yogi is ambitious while the bogi is merely adventurous. Your bogi seems to be richer and more interesting, but it is not so in reality. The yogi is narrow as the sharp edges of the knife. He has to be, to cut deep and smoothly, to penetrate unerringly the many layers of the false. The bogi worships at many altars. The yogi serves none but his own true self.
Now let me stop there. The way the questioner is describing some of these yogis, it doesn't sound like the ones with whom he's had contact have the real freedom of the spirit. A real person of steady wisdom is natural and spontaneous, unfettered, full of joy. I've been going through wandering in the Himalayas, but Swami Tapovana, a Maha Tyagi, incredible renunciate. But oh, did he enjoy the beauty of nature, full of spontaneity and love. Swamiji certainly was full of humor and life. He wasn't, prune-faced and I've met yogis like that. And they're, in my opinion, still controlling, still having a tremendous amount of ego, trying to be a goody goody, which is not the path of Vedanta. Now, as far as bogies who are deeply realized, I don't know. I've not gone down that path. Personally, of course, I had my particular karmas to work out, but I think we all do. But I am not an Agori and I'm not a Tantri, so I can't really speak to it. All right, going on.
There is still no purpose in opposing the yogi to the bogi. The way of outgoing, pravriti, necessarily precedes the way of returning, nivriti. To sit in judgment and allot marks is ridiculous. Everything contributes to the ultimate perfection. Some say there are three aspects of reality: truth, wisdom, bliss. He who seeks truth becomes a yogi. He who seeks wisdom becomes a jnani. He who seeks happiness becomes the man of action. Questioner: we are told of the bliss of non-duality. Maharaj: such bliss is more of the nature of a great peace. Pleasure and pain are the fruits of actions, righteous and unrighteous. Questioner: what makes the difference? Maharaj: the difference is between giving and grasping. Whatever the way of approach, in the end, all become one. Questioner: if there be no difference in the goal, why discriminate between various approaches? Maharaj: let each act according to his nature. The ultimate purpose will be to serve in any case.
Okay.
The ultimate purpose will be served in any case.
So let's go into that. We have the four great margas that the scriptures talk about: karma, bhakti, raja yoga, and jnana yoga. Karma yoga, the path of action. You want to get an in-depth understanding of it, chapters 3, 4, and 5 of Gita. Bhakti yoga, the path of devotion. Love God until you disappear. We have scriptures like Narada Bhakti Sutra. We have a chapter on Bhakti Yoga in Gita. The ISKCON people are great Bhakti Yogas. Raja Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, based on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. They may be even older. He just simply codified them. This is for people who are attracted to power. People don't understand that. Raja Yoga, you develop siddhis, powers. You have ecstatic experiences. Nothing wrong with that. There are those of us who are junkies at heart. We want intense sensation. We're attracted to Raja Yoga. And then Jnana Yoga, this is the shortest, the most immediate, but it's the most austere. And it is only available to those who have chitta shuddhi, purity of mind. It's a non-intellectual path for intellectuals, Swamiji used to say. but it is also a path that is attractive to those for whom asceticism comes easily. So many people practice an integral path. This is just Hinduism. There's Sufism, there's Buddhism, there's mystical Christianity, there's all the different paths. So there are many, many, many paths up the mountain of truth. And I like to say at the top of the mountain is the temple of truth. But it only has one door. And it's a very narrow door. You can't go through the door with lots of baggage. All your baggage is left behind because the door is so narrow. And that door is I. Aham. All of the paths culminate in self-inquiry. There's no other way. Find out who you are. And here Maharaj talks about the bliss for the jnani is this deep peace. It's not necessarily an ecstatic mind state. There's nothing wrong with ecstatic mind states. Many jnanis enjoy them, but it's another worldly pleasure. They come and they go, they vary in intensity. But the knowledge, nothing touches me. I am a changeless, birthless, deathless reality with no quality. Bestows an incredible peace on the mind. Deep understanding. Brahma Satyam Jalan Mithya. Brahman alone is real, the phenomenal world is illusion. Changes everything. Don't believe me? Go there. Going on.
All your discriminations and classifications are quite all right, but they do not exist in my case. As the description of a dream may be detailed and accurate, though without having any foundation, so does your pattern fit nothing but your own assumptions. You begin with an idea and you end with the same idea under a different garb. Questioner, how do you see things? Maharaj, one and all are the same to me. The same consciousness, chit, appears as being, sat, and as bliss, ananda. Chit in movement is ananda. Chit motionless is being. Questioner, still you are making a distinction between motion and motionless. Maharaj, non-distinction speaks in silence. Words carry distinctions. The unmanifested nirguna has no name. All names refer to the manifested, saguna. It is useless to struggle with words to express what is beyond words. Consciousness, Chidananda, is spirit, Purusha. Consciousness is matter, Prakriti. Imperfect spirit is matter. Perfect matter is spirit. In the beginning, as in the end, all is one. All division is in the mind, chitta. There is none in reality, chit. Movement and rest are states of mind and cannot be without their opposites. By itself, nothing moves, nothing rests. It is a grievous mistake to attribute to mental constructs absolute existence. Nothing exists by itself.
So the idea here is all of our ideas about the self, our ideas about reality, fall painfully short. God cannot be known through ideas. Yet God is supremely knowable. So the yogi quits trying to figure it out. Is achintyam, avimarsham, not the product of any kind of deliberation. Stop the mind and you stop the world. Doesn't mean like the whole movie just freeze frame. No. Go there and find out. Going on.
Questioner, you seem to identify rest with the supreme state. Maharaj, there is rest as a state of mind, Chittaram, and there is rest as the state of being, Atmaran. The former comes and goes, while the true rest is the very heart of action. Unfortunately, language is a mental tool and works only in opposites. Questioner, as a witness, you are working or at rest?
Let me stop right there. So Krishna talks about what is action in the midst of actionlessness. What is actionless in the midst of action? The self never moves. It is achalam. Acharam, doesn't roam about. So even though the body, mind, intellect may be quite engaged and involved in the world, you are a still point. You never go anywhere, you never do anything, you are kutastha. And the body, mind, intellect can be doing lights stuff, or it can be sitting quietly in meditation. The mind can be at rest for a time. That is still an action. Remember, the dharma of the body is karma. The nature, the essence of the body is action. Going on.
As a questioner, as a witness, you are working or at rest. Maharaj, witnessing is an experience and rest is freedom from experience. Questioner, Can't they coexist as the tumult of the waves and the quiet of the deep ocean coexist in the ocean? Maharaj, beyond the mind, there is no such thing as experience. Experience is a dual state. You cannot talk of reality as an experience. Once this is understood, you will no longer look for being and becoming as separate and opposite. In reality, they are one and inseparable, like roots and branches of the same tree. Both can exist only in the light of consciousness, which again arises in the wake of the sense I am. This is the primary fact. If you miss it, you miss all. Questioner, is the sense of being a product of experience only? The great saying, Mahavakya, Tatsat, is at a mere mode of is it a mere mode of mentation? Maharaj, whatever is spoken is speech only. Whatever is thought only. The real meaning is unexplainable, though unexperienceable. The Mahavakya is true, but your ideas are false. For all ideas, kalpana, are false. Questioner, is the conviction, I am that, false? Maharaj, of course, conviction is a mental state. In that, there is no I am. With the sense I am emerging, that is obscured. As with the sun rising, the stars are wiped out. But as with the sun comes light, so with the sense of self comes bliss, Chidananda. The cause of bliss is sought in the not I, and thus the bondage begins.
So what he's referring to is what we call jnana abhyasa, the practice of knowledge. Maharaj even suggests that we practice finding out who I is, constantly returning the attentive faculty to I am. In the end, that goes. Everything goes. But something remains. Going on.
Questioner, in your daily life, are you always conscious of your real state? Maharaj, neither conscious nor unconscious. I do not need convictions. I live on courage. Courage is my essence, which is love of life. I am free of memories and anticipations, unconcerned with what I am and what I am not. I am not addicted to self-descriptions, Soham and Brahmasmi. I am He, I am the Supreme, are of no use to me. I have the courage to be as nothing and to see the world as it is, nothing.
So I like the description that Ramana Maharshi gives. Just as for the ordinary person, you don't have to remind yourself or think about the fact that you have a human body. You know, there's the Kafka short story where the fellow wakes up in the morning and he thinks he's a cockroach or a centipede. I can't remember what the bug is. But you or I never have that feeling. Or as Bhagwan used to say, you don't wake up thinking you're a goat or a cow or a horse or a pig. But you don't have to repeat, I have a human body, I have a human body. It's just constant, unconcerned knowledge, it's a fact. So also for the Jnani, there's no more any doubt. Just like your human body is always there. When are you ever not you? Once you're clear about what you are, Jnana Abhyas then comes like the person who sees their face in the mirror. And then when they go about their duty, they have a little hand mirror which they hold in front of them. Why are you doing that? Just to make sure my face doesn't fall off. That's nonsense. Nobody does that. So in the end, thoughts of self, erroneous or true, are both. The Jnani quit that simply acts spontaneously, impelled by guna, karma, qualities of mind, the force of the past, or more accurately, I of myself do no thing, it is the Father within that doeth the work. The Jnani clearly sees that the actions of the body, mind, intellect are no different than the spinning of galaxies or the falling of the rain. Going on.
It sounds simple. Just try it. Questioner, but what gives you courage? Maharaj, how perverted are your views? Need courage be given? Your question implies that anxiety is the normal state and courage is abnormal. It is the other way around. Anxiety and hope are born of imagination. I am free of both. I am simple being and I need nothing to rest on. Questioner, unless you know yourself, of what use is your being to you? To be happy with what you are, you must know what you are. Maharaj, being shines as knowing. Knowing is warm in love. It is all one. You imagine separation and trouble yourself with questions. Don't concern yourself overmuch and formulate with formulations. Pure being cannot be described. Questioner, unless a thing is knowable and enjoyable, it is of no use to me. It must become a part of my experience, first of all. Maharaj, you are dragging down reality to the level of experience. How can reality depend on experience when it is the very ground, adar, of experience? Reality is the very fact of experience, not in its nature. Not in its nature. Experience is, after all, a state of mind, while being is definitely not a state of mind. Questioner, I am confused. Is being separate from knowing? Maharaj, the separation is an appearance. Just as the dream is not apart from the dreamer, so is knowing not apart from being. The dream is the dreamer, the knowledge is the knower, and the distinction is merely verbal. Questioner, I can see now that Sat and Chit are one, but what about bliss, Ananda? Being and consciousness are always present together, but bliss flashes only occasionally. Maharaj, the undisturbed state of being is bliss. The disturbed state is what appears as the world. In non-duality, there is bliss. In duality, experience. What comes and goes is experience with its duality of pain and pleasure. Bliss is not to be known. One is always bliss, but never blissful. Bliss,
Yes.
bliss is not an attribute.
So we confused the definition of ananda with a feeling. So this is why, especially for beginners, I like to translate ananda as no sorrow reaches there. Physical pain gets to my body, emotional upset gets to my mind, doubt and confusion gets to my intellect, but none of it touches me. I am the still point. So I love the language that Vidyaranya uses. He coins this marvelous term, Brahmananda Rasa Swad. Swad means to taste. Rasa means juice. Ananda's bliss. Brahman is your essential nature. So the Jnani is an adept at tasting the juice of the bliss of Brahman. He finds a way to revel in the self, Atmaramana. Swamiji was a child of the Himalayas, even though he was active in the world. His revelry was in the side. Tejo Mayananda, even though he's a great Vedanta, is at heart a Bhakta. When I first met him, when he first came to San Jose, pure Vedanta. But 20 years later, there he was with his harmonium. Did you ever see him with his harmonium?
Yes.
Why? He wants to sing the Lord's praises. He's an old mushy love bucket. So that was his way to revel. It got him blissed out. Again, I had mentioned wandering in the Himalayas of Tapovana. So he talks about walking along the pathways and seeing the beauty of nature, the incredible grandeur of the Himalayan forests, seeing a little insect in its perfection. I can remember being in Uttarkashi, where Tapovanam's kutir was. and there was a spring storm that came. We were above the altitude of the clouds. So you look down into the valley, and the clouds and the thunder and the lightning and the rain was below us. It was like the clouds were covering a bowling alley, the way the thunder would roll from one end of the valley and back again. Incredible. The grandeur and the beauty of nature. Or for us Californians, just something as simple as walking through a redwood grove. Greater than any cathedral. But if you love it, that's Padmarama. Mind reveling in the beauty of the past. So the mind can be blissful because the source, the fountainhead, the wellspring of all joy is myself. Going on.
Questioner, I have another question to ask. Some yogis attain their goal, but it is of no use to others. They do not know or are not able to share. Those who can share out what they have initiate others. What lies the difference? Maharaj, there is no difference. Your approach is wrong. There are no others to help. A rich man, when he hands over his entire fortune to his family, has not a coin left to give a beggar. So is the wise man, Jnani, stripped of all of his power and possessions. Nothing, literally nothing, can be said about him. He cannot help anybody, nor for he is everybody. He is the poor and also his poverty. He is the poor and also his poverty, the thief and also his thievery. How can he be said to help when he is not a part? Who thinks of himself as separate from the world, let him help the world. Questioner, still there is duality, there is sorrow, there is need of help. By denouncing it as mere dream, nothing is achieved. Maharaj, the only thing that can help is to wake up from the dream. Questioner, an awakener is needed. Maharaj, who again is in the dream. The awakener signifies the beginning of the end. There is no eternal dreams. There are no eternal dreams.
Let me back up here. Again, all depends from what level we're talking. Many of us may be aware of the Bodhisattva vow. I vow not to enter nirvana until all sentient beings are enlightened, liberated. The number of sentient beings is infinite. But the arhat in Buddhism or in yoga, the jnani would say, the vow makes no sense. There are no separate sentient beings to be awakened. So why do we have teachers? Why do we have scriptures? Why do we have the Guru Shishya Parampara, the transmission of the knowledge from teacher to student? In the dream of this world, we have many things like that. Man and a woman come together. And in their love, they make a baby. In the world of Vyavahara transactions, it's a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. So also, in this world of phenomena, we have the scriptures, which are a praman, a valid means of knowledge. And we have the Guru, who is a temporary psychological device. And so we have transmission. Say it's Guru Kripa, the grace of the Guru. But the final beatific vision, what the Shishya, the student, realizes is not, oh, I'm now a realized person. Now I can set up shop and I'll put up a website. Have scripture will travel. You know, here's my business card, Guru. I give a discount to disciples who come this month. This is nonsense. When the student is ripe, meaning in their spiritual unfoldment as part of nature, just like it is the nature of the rose bud to eventually bloom. So in that blooming process, we meet a woman or a man who's traveled the path before us. Well, they really said, let me show you some shortcuts. Show you what really works. They wield a valid means of knowledge. There are many. Here, let's look at what these suggestions, these exercises in contemplation say. Let's follow this system in depth. But at the moment of realization, bondage wasn't real, it was just imagination. There's no person who gets liberated, the person is gone. Where did they go? The world was here a moment ago. Now it's just Brahman everywhere. The scriptures aren't real. The Guru isn't real. The Shisha isn't real. Path isn't real. Only Aham is real. Thoughts of being awake or not being awake, realized, not being realized, they're gone. Lost in the thunder of the silence. Going on.
We're almost done here.
Cool.
Questioner. Even when it is beginningless? Maharaj, everything begins with you. What else is beginningless? Questioner. I began at birth. Maharaj. That is what you are told. Is it so? Did you see yourself beginning? Questioner. I began just now. All else is memory. Maharaj, quite right. The beginningless begins forever. In the same way, I give eternally because I have nothing. To be nothing, to have nothing, to keep nothing for oneself is the greatest gift, the highest generosity. Questioner. Is there no self-concern left? Maharaj, of course I am self-concerned, but the self is all. In practice, it takes the shape of goodwill, unfailing and universal. You may call it love, all pervading, all redeeming. Such love is supremely active without the sense of doing. That's the end of the chapter.
So again, this idea that I began at birth is completely unverifiable. Do you remember your birth? The only thing you know is older people told you popped out of your mother's womb. Few of us have memories that go back before the age of 3 or 4. What you know is you cannot find a time when you were not. And when we study Mandukya, we break down all the ideas by which we think the waking state is real, the dream state is illusory, back and forth, back and forth. Some of the ideas we hold on to, memory. Well, I have memory going back years and years and years and years. No, you don't. What's the date today? The 13th, 14th? I don't know. Let me look.
14th.
14th. So May 14th. What were you doing on May 14th 5 years ago?
I don't know.
You don't know. Yet you do not posit non-existence on the 14th of May 5 years ago. All you know for sure is that you have a lapse of memory, not discontinuity of being. Who here has gone through great tragedies, maybe a terrible illness, the loss of a loved one, financial ruin? But isn't that just a memory at this point? And did you cease to be at all through any of it? No. So the word nityam, which is usually translated as eternal, is different than the words sanatanam or puranam, which mean old, ancient. Nityam is eternal. You are nityam, the eternal now. What we call the past is just a memory. A memory is an idea. The future is just imagination. What is the eternal which is like a kaleidoscope that you're turning constantly in front of your vision, constantly changing. Just like the eyeball that looks into the kaleidoscope is theta. So also you are theta, still unchanging, un. Okay, we'll stop here today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.